In the heart of ancient Alexandria, the city shone under the bright Mediterranean sun. Merchants shouted in the busy marketplace, ships creaked at the harbor, and scholars walked hurriedly along streets lined with marble columns. Among them was Theon, a young librarian with a quiet but strong determination. His life revolved around scrolls, ink, and parchment. He had spent years working in the greatest library the world had ever seen, the Library of Alexandria. The library was a place of wonder. Massive shelves stretched from floor to ceiling, filled with scrolls from every corner of the known world. Philosophers debated in sunlit courtyards, astronomers calculated the stars, and mathematicians scribbled equations on papyrus. Theon felt at home there. Every day he discovered something new. A recipe for dye, a poem from a faraway land, a treatise on medicine. Knowledge, he believed, was the most powerful force in the world. One evening, as the sun dipped low over the harbor, Theon was finishing his work, organizing a collection of scrolls recently arrived from India. A messenger arrived, breathless and pale. "The emperor," he said, "orders that the library be moved or destroyed if necessary. He fears that knowledge may challenge his power." Theon felt a chill. He had heard rumors of attacks on knowledge in distant cities, but never thought it would happen here. He ran through the halls, imagining what would happen if the scrolls were burned. The loss of centuries of human thought, the destruction of carefully preserved works, it was unimaginable. The following days brought fear and confusion. Soldiers entered the library, demanding scrolls to be packed or destroyed. Scholars argued with them, but their words were useless. Theon knew that if he did not act quickly, everything would be lost. He made a desperate decision. Under the cover of night, he began moving scrolls secretly to hidden chambers beneath the library. The work was exhausting. Theon carried heavy scrolls one by one, his hands raw and bleeding. He whispered to himself, naming each scroll aloud. Archimedes, Homer, Euclid, Galen. He memorized what he could, hoping knowledge could survive even if the scrolls did not. Every night, he returned to the upper floors, pretending to sleep among the shelves, while outside, the city's fate hung uncertain. One night, Theon heard a crackling fire from the distant harbor. Smoke rose, and the smell of burning wood filled the air. Panic swept the city. The emperor's soldiers had begun burning ships, and the fire spread to warehouses and homes. Theon realized the library itself was in danger. He ran, clutching scrolls to his chest, through corridors now filled with smoke and heat. Flames licked the edges of ancient parchment. In the chaos, Theon found himself in the library's inner hall, the oldest and most sacred parts of the collection. He looked around desperately. Thousands of scrolls filled the room, and the fire drew closer. He knew he could not save everything. Tears blurred his vision as he made a painful choice. He selected scrolls he believed contained the most important knowledge: mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, history. These would be his responsibility. The rest would be lost forever. As the fire consumed the outer halls, Theon descended into a hidden tunnel beneath the library. He placed the precious scrolls into clay jars and covered them with sand. He prayed that one day someone would find them, that knowledge might survive beyond this catastrophe. Exhausted, he collapsed, listening to the crackle of flames above. For days, Theon stayed hidden, emerging only when the fires had died down. The once magnificent library lay in ruins. Smoke rose from the city, and Alexandria mourned silently. Theon walked among the ruins, sorrow weighing heavily on him. He touched the scorched shelves and whispered apologies to the knowledge that could not be saved. Yet, even in despair, Theon felt a spark of hope. He had preserved a small part of the library, enough that future generations might rebuild what had been lost. He knew it was a small victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. Theon began traveling, carrying jars of scrolls to safe places, secret caves, monasteries, and distant cities where scholars might protect them. His journey was long and dangerous. Bandits roamed the roads, wars erupted in distant lands, and storms threatened to destroy what he carried. Yet Theon never stopped. He met other scholars along the way, teaching them what he remembered and passing along the scrolls he had saved. Slowly, knowledge that had seemed lost began to survive. Theon recorded everything he could in notebooks. He copied texts, drew diagrams, and wrote down mathematical formulas. Even though many scrolls were lost, he made sure that the ideas themselves would live on. In small villages, in distant cities, in hidden monasteries, Theon's efforts sparked a chain reaction. People began to study, to question, to record and pass on what they knew. Years passed, and Theon grew older. His hair turned silver, and his hands became stiff from years of carrying scrolls. Yet he never stopped his mission. He thought often of Alexandria, of the great halls filled with knowledge, and of the fire that had tried to destroy it. And he realized that knowledge was not confined to one building, one city, or one civilization. It lived in those who cherished it, and Theon had dedicated his life to ensuring it survived. One evening, sitting by a quiet river in a foreign city, Theon reflected on his life. He thought of the library, of the fire, of the faces of scholars who had once debated in sunlit courtyards. Though Alexandria and its treasures were gone, he had become a bridge between the past and the future. Knowledge was alive, moving forward through people who valued it. As the sun set, painting the river in gold and crimson, Theon whispered to himself, "The library may have fallen, but knowledge endures." He smiled, feeling the weight of centuries carried forward in the scrolls he had saved. Somewhere, far in the future, scholars would read, learn, and build upon the work of those who had come before. And in that thought, Theon found peace. The world had lost a treasure, but through one determined guardian, the flame of knowledge had not been extinguished. The last scrolls of Alexandria had survived, carrying hope for generations to come. And with that, Theon understood the most enduring truth. Knowledge, once shared, can never truly be destroyed.